All right, so today we get tons of questions about how we square the decks or what we indicating on and all of that kind of stuff. So I wanted to do just a little quick video about the BHJ fixture, how it works, and how we use it in the surfacer. So stay with us and we'll get into it. All right, so what we got is just a refresher. So we got a 2-inch turn, ground, and polished bar that goes through the mains. And for every different engine with a different main bore size, come over here and show them. We make these rings that go in the mains so they fit the mains tight, and then we hone them to where this bar, I mean, like I can move it, but it's snug, right? So that locates the crankshaft center line. And then back here, we've got the BHJ plate. So the plate has, let me take this off so it'll make more sense. All right, so we've got this big cone that goes into cam tunnel, and it's got a ground diameter here that engages in this slot in the plate. And then we got this diameter, so this establishes the cam crank center line. And then this bar goes all the way through, and there's another cone in the front. So the two cones center in the cam tunnel, and then we got the 2-inch precision bar center in the main tunnel, and then we've got this plate. So this plate has a bore and a slot that are perpendicular with one another, or in line, and then it has referenced from this center line 90 degrees, we have a flat to indicate on, and then we have 245s to indicate on for each bank. So once all of this is in and tight in place, so now it's in position. So this is our master gauge. So when we indicate in the deck, we're not indicating in the deck, we're indicating in the fixture that this is 45 to the cam crank center line. And then this side is 45 to the cam crank center line, and this is 90 degrees or perpendicular to the cam crank center line. So this is how we, and we're gonna put it in the machine and show you how we indicate it. But that's how that works. And we do this for all the blocks that they'll pay for. And so before I explain any more, let us get it in the machine, and then we'll explain some more. All right, so we got it in, we got it indicated in, and come over here so they can see. So we got the plate, shine it where they can see this. So we got the plate in, you know, it's in the machine, it's sitting on saddles, it's square, and we got this nice machine surface. And so if we look, so we're all the way on this side of the fixture, we zero, we slide all the way to the back of the fixture, and it's like half a thousandths. Yeah, I mean, we just right there. All right, so we got the fixture indicated in, everything's ready. Now we'll check the block just to see how good the deck is compared to the cam crank center line. So let me let it up here. So we'll zero it down here. So we 8 thousandths out of square. All right, so and then we'll check it this way, and then we'll also check it down here too, just to see if it's got anything funky. So that's setting on 8. I'm just gonna get over here. So I mean, that's almost absolutely perfect. So it's parallel with the crank. It's just downhill on this side. So let's see on this end. I mean, I believe we're gonna find it's gonna be the same. We got a little hump there we got to get over. Oh, so it's actually twisted, and some of that is probably where we put the sleeves in and just all of that stress. So we actually, what is that, 3 high? So we 3 higher here than we are here, but we perfect up here. So I'm gonna assume that's all in the, yeah, I'm gonna assume that's all in the sleeve, because it looks like it was decked. Yeah, see it right there? That's where it starts coming back up. Yeah, so we're back to 0. So right in here is kind of starts back up. So I'm sure that's just stress from the sleeves, because it appears it was decked before. So now, and the same thing for the other side. And even if we want to cut this surface here, we also have that surface on the plate to indicate in on also, if you want this to be flat. And I know most, well, maybe not all, I don't really 100% know, but I know a lot of CNCs register, when it's on the 4th axis, register the cam crank center line like this. It's just got, you know, plugs that go in there like that to drive it. And then I know some other ones, they roll the block upside down and they actually indicate each pan rail and call that flat. And then when that's flat, then they can go, you know, 45 degrees back up to a deck. I don't know how the pan rail correlates with the cam crank center line. I mean, in real life, the pan rail should be perpendicular to the cam crank center line, but you know, is it really? I don't know. I haven't ever checked that to know. So it's indicated in. We're going to get this side cut. Also, something I didn't, let me turn that off. Something I didn't mention is from the center line of the bore, this 2-inch bore, up to these 45-degree machine surfaces that we indicate on, it is what we call a gauge length. So that is 7.600 on my plate. I assume most plates are that same dimension, but with knowing that dimension allows us to use like a depth mic, and then we can come over here and after we cut this deck, after we cut this deck, so we can take the depth gauge and come over and measure from here to here and add that number to this gauge length, and we'll know what the deck height is of this side. And then we can record that information, roll it over to the other side, do the same thing, and then we can verify that both deck heights are the same as we're, you know, doing our work. And then part of the question, the reason I'm explaining all this, another part of the question is you know, people were wanting to know how we indicate our center to bores. And so the big deal with this is getting this plane flat or perpendicular or 45 degrees to the cam crank center line. And once we can do that, the way our boring table works is the block sets on parallels and it's pushed up to the parallels and sandwiched. So we're boring off of the deck, so we need the deck to be square. And then we center on the hole that's already there. And, you know, even if it's wore some, we try to go down in a spot that's not wore to you know, center on that cylinder. And keep in mind, the wrist pin, the rod can do this, and the wrist pin can do this. So if you were off, you know, a thousandths or two this way, or a thousandths or two this way, it's just, it's not a big deal either way. What you don't want to be is, if you could imagine a straight line, what you don't want to be is, you don't want the cylinder to be crooked or not perpendicular to the crank, because then its whole life is trying to scrub the piston at an angle, you know, or like this. Now, if it's like this, it doesn't matter, because the piston can still be square in the bore. And if it's off one side or this way, the piston is still square in the bore. But if it's like this or like this, then that's where we got a problem. And that's why we want the deck to be, you know, we want these two planes to be parallel. And then we want this plane to be perpendicular. And that is the best job that we can do. And, you know, we touched on it before some, but just like in the CNCs, or if we do one in the mill where we got a readout, you know, we can sweep the dial pin hole and call that 0, and then move over to the first hole, and then move the bore spacing to every other hole and make it be where it's supposed to be. And some are off more than others. But again, a little bit this way or a little bit this way is just not a big deal. But a little bit this way is a really big deal. So that's why we try to make sure that we always correct that if we possibly can. So I hope that was made sense and answered all of the questions, because like I say, I just see those questions over and over, and I'm happy for the questions. There ain't no issue there. I just want to make sure that I'm being thorough when I answer them, so, you know, just the general populace understands why we do it the way we do it. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.